Hi there, my name is Kat and this is Justine. We're the directors of Pop Architecture. Today I'll be presenting South Yarra House, which is a project designed in collaboration with Beatrix Rowe Interior Design. This is our first time entering the awards as Pop Architecture, and the project also meets the criteria of emerging project. This presentation will first focus on the concept development, followed by a detailed look through the project. I'll finish with a summary of the project's contribution to the current architectural landscape, as well as our contribution as an emerging practice. The project is the alterations and additions to a double-fronted, single-storey Edwardian terrace. A large portion of the original footprint and walls have been retained, and a rear single-storey addition added, as well as a roof terrace. As with most of our projects, we were really interested in distilling the myriad sort of project factors into the most concise form that we could. For this project, the main factors were this amazing eucalypt which towers over the site, as well as the northern aspect. A lasting impression from our first site visit was the striking shadows and the corrugated fencing in the back laneway. These factors ultimately manifested in a framework about exploring light on textured and curved surface. These diagrams demonstrate how this framework informed the architectural outcome. With both sun and views in the same direction, we knew that we had to use the same moves to capture both at the same time. And with the clients keen to keep the renovation to a single level, both from an efficiency and budget perspective, we were unencumbered by a second level, and this really led to us exploring what we could do with the roof plane. So in the first instance, we introduced a clerestory window at the end of the existing entrance hall. In the second, we maximised the height and the width of the rear extension. And in the third instance, we introduced a roof terrace to maximise their outdoor amenity. The roof terrace was great for the client's own amenity, but did present issues from a neighbouring perspective. We introduced screening devices in strategic ways. The principal devices were a steel screen with varying apertures and a 1.5 level corbelled brick form. Both were detailed in very specific ways to explore the effects of natural light. In tandem with developing the form, we developed the floor plan. We really wanted to avoid this archetypal experience of entering a terrace where you're sort of immediately plunged into darkness and you spend your time rushing through the existing just to get to the end where you expect it to be light. We didn't want this at all. We wanted a quality of amenity throughout. And that's what really drove the inclusion of this clerestory window, which pumps light deep into the floor plate and creates a really dramatic and enjoyable welcome. There's a real equality of space in the existing portion of the build, where even the bathrooms are afforded access to northern light. Here, the material palette is bold and really tightly curated, with an emphasis on pushing the limits of that particular material, in this case, the terrazzo slabs. Bedrooms located in the existing part of the house also benefit from this equality of amenity. Light spills through and there's careful attention to detailing and materiality. Moving into the rear addition, which is anchored by this curved and corbelled brick form. The brick form really embodies the driving principles of the project, consolidating the characteristics of the laneway fencing and that sculptural tree trunk into a striking but simple form. It's also highly functional, accommodating a pizza oven, kitchen, storage, services, and acting as a screen at terrace level. It also really captures the collaborative spirit of this project. And by this, I mean the way that other interior elements play off it, experimenting with depth of form, texture, and curves. Moving up to the terrace, here on the plan, you can see the stair to the east of the site where you can discreetly access the terrace. On the terrace, you experience the aperture change of the steel balustrade. It closes and opens to reveal views, closed to the neighbours and open to that wonderful tree. It's a real delight to be up there during the day, watching the shadows sort of track across the decking. It's really dynamic and mesmerising, one of our favourite parts of the project. The heart of this project really goes to our practice ethos, which is about collaboration and listening to people. In this instance, we worked with the interior designer from project conception through to completion. We came up with the overarching framework together, which was really critical for us all being on board with the concept from the start. There's a really strong dialogue between the interiors and the architecture, and not that we really like to delineate between the two, but in this project, there's certainly a holistic vision. The spirit also carried through to the build, where we formed great relationships with the builder and tradespeople, and this being our favourite brickie, Mick. The client had a bit of a false start on this project, so it was really important that we listened carefully to them and didn't impress any sort of preformed ideas or ego onto them. It was all about listening to what they wanted and then delivering it back to them in an architecturally cohesive way. In the broader context, we think this project is really important because it thinks deeply about this very typical Melbourne typology. And that's the terrace typology, which is really redundant to the way we live, but so prolific and in a lot of cases so unsite specific. We were really interested in a way to interrogate how to make the terrace site specific, but while making the most of what was already there. We hope to apply the sustainable principles of this project to similar ones in the future, in the sense that a lot of existing material is retained, but the overall amenity is lifted. Thanks.